Well, hello there and welcome, everybody. We are back and better than everywhere and anywhere and better than ever. So, we're going to start this unusual episode right now. There's shit everywhere, drowning in the thick, smelly sludge. You can't get out. It's smothering you. And just as you move your hands to find a gun in the pocket, would it be better to end it all? Maybe. But just as you get that thought out of your head, you hear an explosion. And beer starts filling up the spaces in between the sludge. All you can do is sink faster. It's almost over. This is the end. Or is it? Welcome to the Black Cat Report in episode 135, fresh off our summer random hiatus. I am Joey, and with me is the mightiest, the brightest, the fightiest, and the top flightiest, Gil. He's flying away right now.
Hello, everybody. Hope you all have been well. God, we've missed Black Cat Report. We've missed all of you. That hiatus, man, kicked my hiatus. That's for sure. Yeah, but we missed you guys, and we're so glad we see you pulling into the live stream right now. We're glad that y'all are here. Special shout out to Jaden too, who was holding it down as a camp counselor. Want to hear all about that later in the Patreon BCR chat, by the way.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to us. Oh, wow. Went to get cigarettes and never came back.
Went to get milk-flavored cigarettes and just never came home.
Do you remember those chalk cigarettes, the candy cigarettes that they used to have back in the day? You know, when we were young?
Remember? Who do you think manufactured them, Joey? That was me, baby. That's how I made money in elementary school.
Philip Morris also had a hand in it.
Philip Morris.
Yeah, Philip Morris. Well, guess what? Gil, it is the literal third anniversary of our podcast. 3 years of doing our podcast. We started it exactly 3 years ago today, July. Dos, indeed. We're sadly not going to continue the Palmyra Atoll series this week, but we will be doing it next week. We'll be finishing up. We wanted to put in a little bit of a small palate cleanser, if you can call it that, with the beginning. It's basically horrifically funny deaths, and we can laugh at those, right?
I think so. I mean, they're dead. Why would they care? That's what I always say.
Exactly.
We're just going to assume they don't have families and that people didn't like them. And then it'll be fine.
Exactly.
Morally.
Because some of them are recent. Yeah, we'll have fun with that one. But today, we're going to delve into some unusual deaths throughout history, from medieval times all the way up until now. Also, if you were looking for updates as far as Beer Booze and Boogeyman and all things BCR, stick through the episode and we'll get to them right at the end. You ready, Gil?
I think I'm ready. I'm ready to celebrate our anniversary with death.
Exactly. And I feel like that was the perfect way to do it. We're going to start our first unusual death throughout history with a more of a smelly death, I guess, as I kind of prefaced in the intro. Probably one of the worst smelly deaths in history. This was called the Ufort latrine disaster, or in German, Uferte Latrinistes. So, pardon my German. I tried my best, but it literally means latrine disaster. In July.
I don't want to be associated with anything that has the title, which includes latrine disaster. Those words should never go together.
No, I mean, especially after a night of Cookout or Taco Bell or a mixture.
Oh my God, White Castle? Could you imagine something called the White Castle latrine disaster, bro?
Dude, I'm pretty sure that this was part of it.
I'm pretty sure that's everyone's house after White Castle. Um,
Exactly. Exactly. Well, their toilet, I guess. Cracking the porcelain. This is giving this a whole new name.
why do you think why do you think they call them sliders? Um,
Right out of there. In July of 1184 AD, in the German city of Erfurt, which at the time was part of the Holy Roman Empire, which kind of don't really want to go into too much of that, but basically after Rome fell, just became a whole bunch of different kingdoms. And then Rome, they had like the Constantinople was part of like the, Holy Roman Empire, the Western Empire, I
mhm.
guess, or the Eastern Empire, and
It was an
Byzantine, and
empire.
they kind of fell. Yeah, it was an empire.
Yeah.
Well, the German kingdoms eventually split up and came into these different small little fiefdoms. And the
Mhm.
empire at this time and lands were ruled by King Heinrich VI, also known as English as King Henry VI of the Hohenstaufen dynasty. There's a lot of Germanic names that I'm going to
You're
also
doing great.
struggle through. Yep.
No, 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 you're doing
Thank
great.
you.
You're doing great. Full confidence. Just
hmm
blitz that pronunciation, sir.
Exactly. And there also are a lot of King Henrys throughout the history. So King Richard the
That's
Lion,
true.
or Henry the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, a billion of them.
Yeah.
Very common name. During his rule, there was a conflict that erupted between Conrad of again, Wittelsbach, who was the Archbishop of Mainz, also known as Conrad the First, and Ludwig III, who was the Landgrave of Thuringia. So yeah, sorry, excuse for Max. I will say, excuse me for struggling through these names of Germanic places. You
Max is
can,
like, "The one time you could have hit me up, Joey. The one
yeah,
time."
to
Max
learn how
is
to pronounce these things.
for those of y'all that don't know, Max is an incredible human being, lives in Germany, does, translations, and teaches I wanna say he teaches, German folks English. Very astute, very solid
hmm
in English. He has been volunteering for ever, and we've been struggling to find something to meet his volunteering wishes. He's been wanting to find uh, a great UFO series that he can help translate for the first time into
hmm
English for us. So if you know any cases that are like that, any hypnosis tapes or anything like that, we have quite literally a professional translator ready to go with Max, and we've been looking. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do imagine Max at home just being like, 999
Yeah.
Schweinehund, Joey, never hit me up. Just like he's like,
Yeah.
anyways,
And
we
then
love you,
also
Max.
speaking in way better English than me. So,
100%. Both of
yeah.
us, better than both of us. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what my dad said when he visited Germany. He was like, they spoke way better English than we did. He's like, they know how to speak. And they also know a million languages.
words. It's
Well,
true.
the Landgrave, which basically this guy was, is basically like just under a duke, but above the class of counts. So it's kind of just like almost a landlord or somebody with a bunch of different houses around, maybe almost a castle, but not quite. Um, so it has a good bit of power, but not on the line of kings. Max is in the chat. Oh, Gil's chat, not Max, actually. Sorry. Got to. Yep. The dispute in itself was basically just a small land dispute, which happened all the time. And we look to today, it still happens. Well, King Heinrich VI wanted to settle this dispute and get all the people aligned like under him. While King Heinrich made his way through the territory, he sent out messengers to each of the nobles in the area on both sides of the dispute to gather at St. Peter's Church. The St. Peter's Church was one, it really wasn't the only surviving churches, but it was close enough. So, like, the grounds of it survived from the period before, but it did burn mostly down in the year 1080. So it was actually rebuilt in between the years 1103 and 1147. So a few years before the disaster happened, is just about 37 years rebuilt before until the disaster itself happened. Well, there were many, many pretty famous nobles at the time that arrived at this place. And Heinrich von Schwarzburg, Hesse Gosmer von Siegenshain, Frederick von Abenberg,
Nailed
Bakada
it.
von Wartburg, Berenger von Mellingen were all these people that gathered here. And
John
apparently
Bon
at the
Jovi.
time, yeah, John Bon Jovi also gathered here on the second day. Well, after they were all called and they all gathered on the second floor of the cathedral's provost office. Well, it's not quite known how many people were there, but it is known that there were over 100 people. So I would say there's probably like 200 or 300 people at this place. Maybe 200, I would say closer to. The newly built church should have held them all, but due to the combined weight of all the people on the second floor of the church, all their basic like medieval weaponry they're walking around with, all the squires and stuff, the church floor gave way and over 100 people fell down right into the depths. Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there's a mm,
There's a lesson in this.
you can't see I'm grabbing the mic arm. That's why it's moving.
Mhm.
There, oh my god, dude. Fuck, this is good. Okay, this is gonna be a series. We need to do a series on when church goes bad. Because
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
um, dude, there is one place which apparently has the pit of hell in it. I want to say it's along the Russian border. It's like one of the countries that borders along Russia or something like that. Anyways,
Mhm.
it's in Eastern Europe where yeah, yeah. There is a large floor made above this cathedral, and the pit is apparently not known to have a bottom. And so they basically built a floor over this giant hell pit that has all these mysteries and all this shit wrapped around it.
Sounds like the Pit and the
And
Pendulum book, the story.
mhm. I don't know, but sure. It's like
Okay.
it's the pit and the pentagram. That's what it basically is.
Sure.
It's
Mhm.
I watched a long documentary that was horribly translated about this spot, and then I forgot to do it for an episode. But this has happened multiple times where
Mhm.
entire congregations have, you know, fallen a lot like Lucifer. That's all I'm
Disappeared
saying.
into the depths.
Yes, yeah. But then
Yeah.
the Nazis at the time, or around the time of the Nazis taking over random parts of Europe, they went in, took over the castle, and that's one of the places they were doing their crazy occult shit at. Was at this castle, where in the center of the castle, was this church that had a floor put over top of a bottomless pit that was supposed to
Love it.
keep vampires and shit out. But this is like a real place that exists in the world.
Hmm.
So throwing it out there, throwing it out there. And
Maybe next
Jaden
time.
points something out. He said, "Hear me out. BCR field trip to the pit." Jaden, fuck yes. This is why we do the show.
Yep. And I have horrible fear of heights.
It's true, but not depth.
You know what? Actually, I
Think
scuba
about
dived
it.
for a few times
Think about
and
it.
I loved it.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Think about it. I
Yeah.
didn't. Let's go.
Well, as all these people gathered there, the floor below them cracked and everybody
Hmm.
fell. Over 100 people. So during this time, bathrooms were basically holes in the floor, and down below the holes in the floor was just an open area dug out with shovels, similar to a pit. But in
Okay.
this time period, it's supposed to go and flow out into the moat. But and this problem, there's no way to get down there to clean it out. They would
Mm.
have to be lower down in there, but then they would get stuck and it'd be really bad. So
Mm.
latrine systems would just fill up with no way to get rid of the shit, the piss, everything down there. And I can only imagine the horrifying smell because of the diet of the people during the Middle Ages of how bad it would be to be stuck down there. Well, back to the
Yes.
story. In between,
God.
depending on where you read, 600 to 100 people, little maybe a little over, fell
Mhm.
into the latrine as the floor gave way.
What? Stop right there. Um,
Mhm.
Floor was giving way, yet somehow they fell down the space that was only big enough for poop.
No. No,
Okay.
underneath the
It,
house, it's a
mhm.
latrine. So, like, there's a bathroom where there's one round
Yeah.
hole, and then it all
Mhm.
slides downhill and goes into this one place underneath the house.
Oh.
As I said earlier, they dug out trenches underneath the place, underneath the church. That's where all the poop goes, and it got stuck in this one little area of the underneath where they were, and the floor gave
Gotcha.
way, and they fell in. Well,
Honestly, I'd pay 1,200 a month for that, for a house like that in Nashville.
for that
That's
privy, for that kind of
for a
privy.
studio apartment in Asheville with like a pit plumbing. I'm here for it. You know.
That's on the low end too.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
affordable. It's a good
well,
deal.
that's true. Well, some of them might have died due to the fall itself, maybe hitting to the rock walls or the iron or the parts of the wall that fell. But most of them died after being suffocated by the pool of shit and piss they fell into. If you can imagine with me, put on your shit filled glasses and putting yourself in their shit filled boots. As you stand arguing with another medieval lord, the wooden and iron floor that you're standing on starts creaking, 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 and you look around, and then poof, it gives way to nothing but poop. And as you fall into it, the liquid and partly solid excrement surrounds your body and then slowly envelops you into the depths. The poop surrounds your neck and then slowly starts to rise up to your mouth. You can't help but gasp for air as the excrement goes into your mouth and then into your nose. It makes you puke as you add to the liquid putrefaction that surrounds you. Then you just have no more air. And as you die, you shit yourself and it just adds to what's in the latrine. I had to go depth into it because you guys want this.
They want it. They get mad when you
Mm-hmm.
don't go into explicit detail.
I know. And that's how 100 of these people died. They fell into a shit pit with nothing to save them. But there were two people who survived, okay? Two people.
Uh,
You got some?
Hold on. Before you get to the survivors, before you get to the survivors, um, how disappointed would you be if you did like the fucking the ancestry.com or 23andme, like you did the DNA match and they were like, yeah, your family almost went extinct in the great shit pit catastrophe of 1200. And you're just like, you know what, genealogy kind of sucks. Actually, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I'm done. I don't want to know who
Oh
survived. Well, I mean, if you
my god.
survived, though, you went through a lot of shit. Your genes
It's
went through
true.
a lot of shit.
Do you realize how much shit my family went through to have me?
And it's true. They did.
Hmm.
Thank you,
Damn.
Laura. The story
It's like a
is beyond
it's like a
gross.
Titanic on land. Honestly, it's kind of like the
Yeah.
Titanic on land, but with poop. More poop than the Titanic.
The poop tanic. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
there was two people that
Okay.
survived. They didn't actually go into the poop though. That's how they actually survived
Towns
this.
only
So
plumbers. Yeah.
yeah, the king, luckily, and the archbishop, who was one of the people who started it all, survived by hanging on. So like they were talking off to the side, and they were sitting in this kind of like window alcove that's like kind of stone, kind of iron, and they like held on for dear life basically on these rails that are like hold that are barely holding on, and they're sitting there until townspeople, the firefighters or like the other knights at the time came running with
The farter
ladders.
fighters
The
just came running.
farter fighters came running with ladders to basically be like, "We'll get you, king. We'll get you, archbishop. We'll save you." And they got him right before they couldn't hold on anymore, and like grabbed them, basically yanked them out, and those were the only two survivors that we know of. So
And this is what happens when you don't pay your porta potty bills, y'all. Seriously, they will fuck you up. Because you're always wondering, like, what happens if I do the whole like rent-a-john thing and like I don't pay my bill? What are they gonna do about it? This is what they
pump it
do
into
about
the
it.
bottom of your house. Yeah.
Yep. 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 Yep.
If you have a crawl space, it's gonna be a shit space.
Mm.
Yep.
It's crap space now, baby.
And not just for your old furniture and old clothes. Well, that was the end of that one. The two surviving people. Everyone else died in a shit covered grave. And I mean, to be fair,
Mm.
ain't nobody digging those people out. They just
No.
rebuilt. They just rebuilt over them. They went, you know what? We're good.
Do you think like their family members it's been long enough. It's been almost 1,000 years.
Almost 1,000. Yeah.
Almost 1,000 years. Do you think that the family like prayed every time they pooped? You're just like, dear Aunt Margaret, I hope you're doing well. We had your biscuit recipe this evening. I think you used too much lard. And I hope this message reaches you well. That you're swimming with the angels. Just
Just shitting so bad, but praying
and
while
if you
shitting.
don't like poop jokes, get the fuck away from this episode. This won't be for you if
We
you
had
can't
to
tell
start
by
with
now.
poop jokes. Yeah, we had to
Yes.
start with poop jokes.
Yes.
That's where that you don't want to know how
Filter the
many
vibe. Filter the vibe.
unusual deaths were
Mhm.
because of shit, because of poop, because of shit. Not like because they had a heart attack while pooping. That's a whole nother like
Oh,
Elvis. That's a whole nother
do
thing. This is people drowning in poop.
honestly, the closest I've ever come to faith has been sitting on the toilet. Like, I don't blame anybody for that,
Oh, for
you
sure.
know what I'm saying? I've had some moments where it's like,
Found God on the
I
toilet.
am expelling
I think
Satan.
that's
I
what that
am
song's about.
actively involved in an exorcism, right? Um, Whoop, camera. I am actively involved in a freaking exorcism sometime. I am losing my soul, all right? And I'm finding God in those moments. So I will never make fun of somebody for kicking the can on the can. I'm never gonna
Mhm.
make fun of somebody for that. We've all been there. We've
Yeah.
all been there. But
Yeah.
mostly after White Castle. This episode is brought to you by White Castle.
White Castle. You've
Guaranteed to
seen
turn
those
your
new
castle
mixtures.
brown. Uh,
You've seen those new mixtures of like KFC, Taco Bell, and like what's the other one that they're two together?
oh, bro. Yeah. The Morgan White Castle, I think, is one that I saw.
Interesting. Doobie Cat, the pit was you're welcome, Jade. The pit was excavated a long time afterwards. I don't think that they mentioned what they found. Because they had to rebuild. Eventually, they rebuilt the St. Peter's Church,
Mhm.
and they had to rebuild it because it was just badly built in that time period. Obviously, the floor broke with only 40, I think 40, 50 years
Mm.
after it was rebuilt, so it wasn't that long. Well, let's get to our next unusual death in history. This
Let's
guy is
go.
named Clement Laird Vallandigham during
Oh,
the
he's meant to die
Civil
bad.
War. Yeah, he's
Oh,
well,
yeah.
yeah.
Clement? Clement. His name's
Clement.
Clement.
We're gonna call him Clement because the rest of his name is just I'm not even gonna.
L- a- As somebody named Gil, guaranteed to have a messed up death. There's no way I'm
Hmm.
allowed to die normal. And if I do, that's unnormal. You know what I'm saying? Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Fact. And if you're named Clement, bro, just write your will now. That's all I'm
Hmm.
saying.
This guy's a funny death, so it kind of works out, I guess. Um,
Let's go.
Clement was a congressman in the U.S. House of Representatives from 19. Oh, excuse me. Clement was a congressman in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1857 to 1863 for your home state, Gil, Ohio. Another Ohioan.
It's just not an episode without somehow Ohio getting involved
Gotta be in
every
it.
fucking time.
Hmm.
Shout out
This guy,
Ohioans. I,
Clement.
I wish you luck escaping. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, please get out. This guy, Clement, was fiercely adamant against the principles and issues of the Republican Party.
Okay.
So he probably ended up pro John Wilkes Booth, since he
Mm.
really, really hated Abraham Lincoln. One of the principles
Ugh.
he took issue with most was how the Republican Party became anti slavery. Of course, he was pro slavery.
God damn it.
Yeah, right. Clement was fiercely for slavery and idealized the Southern way of life. Yeah, he's not a good guy.
God, this is so accurate to Ohio.
Hmm.
I thought lights are out.
Yeah,
Anyways, um,
yeah. Eventually, he became the leader of the Midwest Democrats, which would eventually become called the Copperheads. The Copperheads didn't want to fight the war. They also didn't want to punish the South because they were like the North started the war. They didn't want to even be in the war. They just wanted to stay out of it. Well, during the war, Clement fought the administration of President Abraham Lincoln at every turn, trying to stop it and then attacking Lincoln for what he viewed as destroying the Constitution with Lincoln's suspension of habeas corpus, and also the destroying, in his view, the civil liberties. Well, in 1863, just before Gettysburg, he made numerous speeches against the war and government. And during that time, he became the most hated man in the North because he was just,
that
everyone hated this guy.
that that might be the most proud I've ever been of an Ohioan, honestly. Like that's impressive because you have New York. Okay, that's a whole, thing.
That's a whole thing.
You have New Jersey,
Whole
right?
place. Yep.
Whoa, huh, okay,
Pennsylvania.
hello. Right, you have Detroit. Huh? Uh-huh. And
Yep.
you have probably the most hated state of all, New Hampshire. Because they
I
have
could say that. Yeah.
failed. They have failed to answer a single question about what happened to Old Hampshire. Why does nobody talk
Mhm.
about this, Joey? I'm just wondering, what the fuck happened to Old Hampshire?
It's in the UK, just like
What
Old
happened
York.
to Old
Just like
Hampshire?
Old
That's what I
York.
want to
Old
know.
York is in UK. Everything that's new
Nobody's
was
dissing New
originally in the
York.
UK.
Nobody
You
on this
seem like
Jaden, nobody on this podcast would dare diss New York. Actually, and I'm going to say this. I really have to point this out as I scroll across the room.
this is part of his
Jaden, hear me
action
hear
figureness.
me out. Hear me out.
Hmm.
Hear me out.
Hearing, I'm listening. I feel like his mic died, so he can't. Nobody can hear him. Yep, his mic died. So you just missed his whole diatribe.
You guys, all right, I figured out how to turn it back on. Now, Ohio is so bad, other than the fact that in Northwest Ohio, the official way to say hello to somebody is with a middle finger. That's just how you wave. Um,
Hmm.
and I need to point this out to somebody in the future who's gonna be like, I can't believe that one host was making fun of bitch, I'm from Ohio. Fuck you. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
allowed
allowed
to
to.
make fun of my home state.
Hmm.
Um, anyways, back to my diatribe. Um, yeah, Ohio is so bad that when I finally went to New York City, I thought everyone was nice. That is how bad Northwest Ohio is. Because all I had heard is about
Wow.
how rude New Yorkers are, how they're assholes, how they're. I got there and I was like, this is some of the nicest people on the fucking planet. I
Hmm.
love New York so much. I think the people are absolutely incredible. I love them.
Hmm.
If they don't want
Agree.
anything to do with you, they'll just say it. Thank you for
That's so
not wasting
nice.
anyone's time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate that shit so much. So I will never talk shit about New York. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. I'll just admit, you know, we all got some calluses. That's all I'm saying. But it's to protect us from the
True.
cold. That's all. So sorry.
Yeah.
Joey, go ahead. We just had to give a New York moment because New York
Mm.
deserves it. They're, they're awesome.
Yeah. You and Billy Joel. In May of that year of 1863, Clement was arrested by military authorities for expressing treasonable sympathy to the enemy, which he was doing the whole time, and he was sentenced
Fucking
to imprisonment.
Ohioans.
Hmm.
Sorry.
However, soon after that, his sentence was commuted, actually commuted by Abraham Lincoln to just banishment to the South. So he was like, "Oh, you like the South?" He was like, "Well, just go to the fucking South. I don't want you up here. I don't want to
God, he
deal with
was
you."
progressive.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was aggressively progressive.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the funny thing about it is how Abraham Lincoln was murdered. They were thinking that he was gonna punish the South and was gonna basically rip the South apart. And he was just like, I'm just gonna get rid of slavery. He's like, I'm
I
not
didn't
doing
plan any of
anything else.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah. Remember the first thing that I said that I've been sticking to? That's it, man. I'm just trying to
yeah.
enjoy this play here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real head exploder. Well,
My
during
lord.
this time, Clement grew bored of his exile in the South, as most do, and then made his way to Canada. Most likely, it didn't say where he went, but most likely he went to Montreal because there was a
Yep.
hotbed of Confederate spies in Montreal. Funny enough
Yep.
that the British were helping out the South in that war too. So, well, in 1864, he could not stay away. He returned to Ohio illegally because obviously he was banished from the
No one
North.
That's the only time in history anybody has said that sentence, Joey.
That he returned to Ohio.
No, you just broke the internet by saying he could not stay away from Ohio. And he returned.
Yep.
No one has ever said that. We are breaking grounds here today. All right. And not just the
We
kind in
are.
churches where people die in shit pits, but we are breaking ground.
Breaking Ohio in ground, Virgin Ohioan territory. But when he got back there, a little bit before, he ran for governor, but
Mm,
he lost the governorship because the basically in the Civil War, the South
mhm,
was like crushing it. And this is like just active history, just real quick. The South was crushing it. They were going up there
mhm.
like, cool, we can't win this if we keep fighting. We got to go to the north and we got to win a battle on the northern ground, basically to say, please stop messing
Yeah.
with us. And then once their biggest battle was Gettysburg, and once Gettysburg
Mhm.
happened, the South started losing basically. And then Vicksburg happened, and the South was like starting to be like, okay, we're starting to get pushed back and starting to get crushed because of this like northern sympathies were basically like instead of being like we don't want to be in the war anymore, they went to like, oh, we're actually winning, we have a chance to win this, let's like win. And so they started being like, okay, cool, we're from the north, yeah, we're going to stop slavery. And it happened like that. And because of that, him running for governor with his tendencies to win, tendencies that he's like we don't want to be in the war, he lost because the turning of that tide. Well, because he had
That's the
passed
most
the Ohio bar. Good, good.
I was just gonna say that's the most American thing ever, and you can see it fully on display every 4 years at the Olympics, where all of a sudden Americans are like, water polo is the best goddamn sport in this
Mm-hmm.
fucking country, along with
Curling.
women's soccer and
Mm-hmm.
curling. And it's just like Americans don't give a single fuck and are actually all for cutting all funding to everything until they start to see somebody winning. And they're like, bro, I've been the biggest fan my whole fucking life. Like, that is so quintessentially American.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm on board. If I watch
Oh,
any
dude,
Olympic game, I'm
figure
like,
skating?
America, America. Yeah, we're going. We're gonna win the gold. Yeah.
What did you just say about Yeah, yes.
Well, getting back into it, because he had passed the Ohio bar and became a lawyer before he became a politician, he was able to act as a lawyer, and this would eventually be his downfall. He became the defense attorney for a man named Tom McGeehan, who was on trial for murder. Well, on Tuesday, June 6th, we're going way forward because he had a bunch of stuff happen in his life. On 1871, the trial began. It was going terribly bad, and Clement decided that to prove that his client was basically innocent, he would have to do a full live recreation of the man shooting himself instead of being murdered.
Oh my god.
You can
I
see where
wait,
this is
wait, wait.
going.
I need to know real quick. My god. All right, hold on one second. I'm having an audio issue here, and I'm just getting rid of one of my earbuds, which is disorienting me more than the alcohol. Just says something. Um, Real quick. Okay, so the person who has to do the recreation is this southern sucking motherfucker that's down with slavery, right?
Yep.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. So the person that's about to do what you're about to tell us they're about to do is the piece of shit who fled south and slash got a presidential order during a fucking civil war to be like, yeah, just go there, whatever. I don't care. Get the fuck out. Like
Yeah. Get
it's
out of the
that
South.
dude.
Get out of the North. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. This
Yeah.
guy.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So
So
just putting that
there's
out there.
no, yeah, yeah. Just thank you for clarifying
Just
that because there's no
you're
sympathy
welcome,
with
bud.
this guy.
I
Southern
feel I
sympathies
know
for
where this is going.
slavery, no sympathy. Well, well, on June 16th, about 7 days after the trial started, right? Well, sorry. Well, on June 16th, 10 days after the sorry, can't talk.
Big time, bud.
Well, on June 16th, 10 days after the trial started, after the court had adjourned for the day, Clement and his
Mhm.
team took a gun, basically took a revolver into the countryside and fired it into a piece of cloth. They were trying to find
That's how they
gunpowder
work.
residue and changing distances to see where the gunpowder residue would actually stick to the
It's
cloth, right?
legit. That's legit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, just to go real quick through this, he's trying to
Mhm.
prove that his client did not shoot the man, that the guy actually
Mhm.
shot himself in like a little bar scuffle, right? So this is basically like the
Okay.
gist of it.
Gotcha.
Well,
Yeah.
that evening after he did the, gunpowder residue check, he placed a
Mhm.
loaded gun right next to the unloaded gun that he was going to use for the trial.
That is the safest place to put a loaded gun because the
Mhm.
unloaded gun, everybody knows this. The unloaded gun, well, especially on the cast of like or on the set of Rust, like Alec Baldwin learned this perfectly. This is the safest thing you can do. You take the unloaded gun and you put it next to the loaded gun. And what a lot of people don't know is the unloaded gun will teach the loaded gun how to be more safe. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? It's
Mhm.
it's like the AA program for guns, basically.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ammo's anonymous. Well,
Mhm.
well, the next morning, he was heading out to court. Basically, he's like, okay, this is my time. He placed the gun into his pocket to take to court for the demonstration, straight into his pocket.
Mhm.
The day of the trial, he thought it was his moment to shine. He said,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen of the court, I will prove to you that this was accidental shooting and not murder. I will now demonstrate how Tom the
Fuck.
deceased had accidentally shot himself while drawing a pistol as he tried to arise from the floor.
Mhm.
Clement took the pistol from the prior day from the bureau and put it in his
No.
right pants pocket. He then slowly pulled the gun out, cocking it as he pulled it out. As he got to the exact position which he assumed the pistol was when he claims that Myers' weapon discharged, he said, there, that's the way Myers held it, and then pulled the trigger. The gun then fired, and the courtroom heard a half suppressed sound of a gunshot. Clement then exclaimed, my God, I've shot myself. And then he stumbled over towards the wall, trying to hold himself up, and then collapsed down the wall. This guy shot himself with a loaded gun trying to defend a man who had actually shot another man during a gambling dispute. He was trying to prove that this was a fake this was a suicide gun, basically shot himself and killed himself and not a murder.
Yeah.
Clement died less than 12 hours later because of the gunshot wound. As for the
In
jury,
Ohio.
as for the jury, they actually immediately acquitted Tom McGeehan, saying that, of course, the guy shot himself. The lawyer just proved it.
Oh. Say what you want about Ohioans. We make two things very well: lawyers and ghosts. All right, we are so good.
And he became both of those, lawyer and a ghost.
It's fucking good. Oh dear God.
However,
Just-
this man's luck did not last long, and McGeehan was shot through a window of his saloon by an unknown killer about 2 years later. So
it was the lawyer's ghost trying to reenact to his friends how he died.
he's try-
Okay, so basically I was in court. It was really crazy. And all of a sudden it was oh fuck.
yeah, that
Goes
was
the lawyer.
that is hilarious. He killed himself with his own gun that he was trying to prove shot himself. So very
Say what you want
unusual
about him.
deaths.
Damn good lawyer.
Damn, I mean, he gave his life to be proven innocent. So this guy was literally
Yeah.
going to be proven guilty until he did this. So,
Ohioans will do anything to get
mhm,
out of Ohio. And whether that is learning how to invent airplanes, being the first person on the moon, being the first person to orbit Earth, it is like, well, not the first, but the point is getting as
close.
far the fuck away as possible. Going to Washington, D.C. to try to make Ohio more habitable. For the longest time, the most amount of presidents came from Ohio. Um,
Hmm.
we have a long, rich history of getting the fuck out. That's a fact. True fact
Yeah,
there.
that's the end. Well, this next
Can't wait
one,
for the comments. But yeah,
I know. This next
damn
one,
it.
we're gonna flip over the ocean and go to the
Assholes.
UK.
Hmm.
It's gonna also be more modern day than usual. James William Heselden was born on March 27th of 1948 and eventually became a coal miner. He then lost that job due to the union strikes in the 1980s. So I'm just prefacing this because you
Okay.
can kind of see where he comes from. Yeah.
This is in the UK, right?
This is in the UK. Yep.
Dude, I need to find that movie. That's a fucking awesome history. If we ever get a chance, I might do it for like a political BCR bootleg movie night. There's some really good documentaries, really good movies about the coal strikes in the UK.
Hmm.
Sounds boring,
Very much
but
needed.
pretty fucking awesome when you watch
Hmm.
it. Like it's like actually like, oh shit, like it's fucking intense. Sorry,
Yeah.
just to interrupt there,
I
y'all.
love it
If you like paranormal shit and you don't like history, do you even like paranormal history? Like shit?
because it's
Do you?
history.
Do
Yeah.
you? Do you? Do
And
you?
if you guys know me, I'm always prefacing stuff with history. Got to.
I didn't know
Got
that.
to. Yeah, you
Mm.
do know that. Gil sometimes just like, please stop prefacing with history. We know how a shovel works, okay? I know what
Yeah, but do you realize when it went from flat to spade shaped? Like who
that blew
what?
people's
Bro,
minds.
okay. Hold on a second. We have to start with
We got
silly
two
putty.
hours.
Okay, so
Mhm.
if you look at the
We got 2 hours
this
to explain this.
episode is about Bigfoot, Joey. Shut the fuck up. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop.
Um,
Yeah. We dug up Bigfoot's bones with the spade headed shovel. So we got to go into the background of that.
why do you think there's
But,
no evidence?
anyways,
We used the wrong shaped shovel. Anyway,
that's why. That's why it broke the bones, got smaller, not Bigfoot, Littlefoot. Um, well, because of basically saving up a lot of that coal miner money, he used some of that money he had saved up to open a workshop, initially starting it as a sandblasting business. Well, in 1989, he started the Hesco Bastion Company to build his creation, basically a form of wire and mesh barrier that he patented himself. That could be, he initially said this is going to be used for flood barriers or walls, basically, like stop Hurricane Katrina from happening. But a
oh
very
yeah.
good thing to use for. Well, instead of the emergency management which they were built for, they started becoming favorites among armies around the world for blast barriers and basically mobile walls, as they always do. They also were used to help in the Hurricane Katrina relief, though. They did use those, and he donated a bunch of those. So
Saving them
we're gonna
and
say
taking them. Yeah,
this guy is not a bad guy. Um,
not a bad guy.
he did a lot of donations, and I do want to preface this too because he donated a lot of his money, and he had some really good quotes of like, if you can't
Okay.
give money back to people, then why have it? There's some really good good quotes
So
on
we
this guy.
can't
So
laugh at him. Gotcha.
oh, you can laugh at him. It's also modern day, but please laugh because it's just ironic. Well, on Christmas Day in 2009, Jimmy purchased the Segway company as a new kind of investment for himself. If you guys don't know what Segways are, I don't know how you've not seen a Segway. They're those big motor scooter things that just like you stand on top of and you can take tours on. Very weird things. I would never use them because they look very silly. Well, not more than a year afterwards, on September 26th of 2010, Jimmy was riding an off-road Segway near Thorpe Arch, which is in Wetherby in Leeds, United Kingdom, with his dog. Because of the enormity of the Segway he was driving of the company that he just purchased, he had to reverse out of the way of another person who was also walking his dog. They were coming the opposite way. As he reversed, he went too far and fell off the cliff into the river wharf, which was just below, and died. The Segway of the basically on top of a Segway of the company that he just purchased. It was the Segway to his journey to the other side, I guess. Which is
Mm.
very sad for this guy. But it's just so ironic that he bought this company, and the only reason he probably
Mm.
died is because he was on a Segway of the company that he bought. It's
Mm.
actually sadder than I was telling it, and than I thought it would be.
I'm not laughing at the Segway guy. He seems like a decent human being.
He's
He
probably the
just
most
wanted
decent
people
person
to
in
be
this,
lazier, and I appreciate that.
which we're all for. Yeah,
Yeah, as somebody who loves to be lazy, full support. I
yeah.
have a lot of support for this guy.
Just a
Yeah.
sad, ironic death.
Really? Yeah. Way to bring it down, Joey.
Well, let's bring it back up.
Yeah, segue
One
to
of our
something better.
last, yeah, let's segue
Okay.
into this one called our last unusual death in history or deaths in history. We're going to stay in the UK and talk about the
Yeah.
London beer flood. This is perking up Gil's ears.
Yeah. This is one of those things where it's like, man, if I could have been there in history, things would have went different. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
this is my moment.
Mm-hmm. Now, you all can probably see where this is going because of the name. Also, kind of hits close to home for us because Asheville is also Beer City, USA, with a crap ton of micro and macro breweries in and around us. And I mean, I guess regulations are a little better nowadays, but not saying that this couldn't probably happen. Well,
I pray every
in
night
eight,
it does. I don't even know what's gonna happen.
sitting at the bottom near Highland with your mouth open, like it's coming. Well, in 1810, the Horseshoe Brewery, which stood on the corner of Great Russell Street and Tottenham Court Road in London,
Walton.
built a 22-foot high fermentation tank. The tank itself could hold more than 300,000 gallons of beer, right?
Whoa.
So it was equal
Mhm.
to about 3,500 wooden barrels of nice brown porter ale, which I actually don't really like brown porter ale. It's just too dark.
And mm,
Yeah.
if it's free, if it's like street free,
If it's street
if it
free,
if
then
it
yes.
if it's a curb score, literally, here for
For
it.
sure. Yeah. And that's a lot of beer. Well, on October
Oh yeah.
17th of 1814, just 4 years after the tank had been built. So I mean, had a good long life, I guess, for the most part. A storehouse clerk named George Crick inspected the tank and found out that
Mhm.
one of the 700-pound iron hoop rings had slipped off the cask. So
Hold
it's
on,
it's
hold
not as
on.
yeah.
It took an inspection for somebody to realize a 700-pound metal ring was missing. It took a
It was still
literal
there, but it was just slipped
inspection.
off. Yeah.
okay, whatever. But the point is, a 700. Do I need to
Yep.
Google image search what a 700-pound metal ring looks like? I don't know. I've never seen one, but I
Mhm.
can't imagine it's the size of a key ring. That thing has to be fucking huge. How do you walk
Yeah.
by the same spot every day with little Jiminy Cricket, whoever the fuck is out there, just man, Mister, can I have some porter for my sick mother? Not now, Timmy. Oh, Mister. You know she's got the shakes. I know she's got the shakes. Who do you think gave it to her? Oh, mister, you're so crude. And it's like, how do you not every day you walk by this fucking massive barrel in town and there's a 700-pound metal ring missing and you don't notice?
Well, it's in the
This
brewery.
motherfucker. No, I know, but people had to be put. This is why they have "don't drink" labels on bleach. It's
Mhm.
motherfuckers like this
Yeah.
wasting ink. I don't. You hit a soft spot for me. That's all I'm
I
saying.
get it.
This is
I
this
get it. I get it.
this is bullshit.
700-pound iron rings are a very big soft spot for you. Yeah. Well,
You got me all worked up.
as I was trying to explain, this was normal because the enormity of the tank. This happened about 2 to 3 times a year, which is not good. Honestly, that's not a 700-pound ring flipping off a tank is not good. But to this is the 1800s. They're like it's normal. If there's a crack in it, just use Flex Seal. Spit in it. I don't know. They're just anything to not have to
You
pay to
should,
fix this.
you should go to shit
Basically.
church and just pray. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go to the shit church, grab some poop, put it on there, stop it right up. Yep.
Mhm.
Getting back into it, even though the tank was completely full, Crick's boss still told him, meh, don't worry about it. It's normal. I'll have it fixed eventually. I've already put in a call into people across the town at the other brewery. They'll be here soon. This was 4:30 p.m., right? And so
Yeah.
Crick's like, okay, well, he's already got somebody coming to fix it, I guess. It's fine. Well, about an hour later, after Crick had notified his boss at around 5:30 p.m., he heard a massive explosion from the storeroom. And he's just like, "Oh shit." Well, the tank exploded and there was huge holes in the tank and it started releasing hot fermenting beer with such a force that the vat burst into splinters and the wall of the brewery crumbled. This wasn't the only cask that broke. Due to the massive explosion, pieces of the tank flew off and hit valves and parts of the other casks and knock those out. So basically, most of this whole brewery is exploding. Uh, and the walls weren't built very well. So 320,000 gallons were released into the streets. That's a lot of
See,
beer.
hold on.
Mhm.
320,000.
And 20,000 over. Yeah.
320.
Are you?
I was born at the wrong time in history.
Mhm.
All there is to
Well,
God.
adding to this, it's boiling hot
Mhm.
fermenting beer. So
Yeah.
it bubbled and rushed through the narrow streets surrounding the brewery. It swamped everyone in its path. Now, this is the 1800s, and the areas around the brewery weren't properly created to have drainage. So there's
So
nowhere for this beer to go,
ironic. Yeah.
right? Just like
This
the
is
poop.
this is going to get cut when Joey edits this episode in a few hours. Please. This was the Hiroshima of beer. That's what Joey cut that from the fucking episode. Sometimes I
I
give into the dark
mean,
side.
I
No,
mean,
I will delete
I'm
the
not gonna
episode if
keep it
you
in.
post it with
Yeah,
that joke in
I won't keep it in. It's fine.
but I feel
Well,
like the folks that are listening will appreciate this. God
for
damn
sure.
it.
Well,
Oh,
because there was no
of course.
drainage, all the basements and the small tenement homes folded and collapsed because of the beer. So people jumped on top of tables, furniture, clung to anything they could to save themselves. Basically, because it's just like it's a flood. They're being
Yeah.
flooded with beer, and if you
Mhm.
bathe in beer for long enough, you could die. You get alcohol poisoning. So they're trying to get
I
up
don't know what you're talking about.
and get. Gil does it every day.
Um,
Well, the first victims of the flood were Mary
I'm just in the
Banfield and
background like, "And y'all thought I was crazy."
her.
Swimming along, spitting it out in a little stream, just
hmm This is life for me. Well, the first victims of the flood were Mary Banfield and her 4-year-old daughter Hannah, who were sitting down to tea. I'm so sad. The second victim, I think, that might have been the most tragic
They got hit by
because
a
the
drunk diver. Um,
oh man,
Another joke you
you
need to remove. These are not
no,
good
it's gonna be
jokes,
in
so
there.
we should not let these go wide.
The second victim, I think, might have been the most tragic because the mother,
Aw.
Anna Seville, and 4 other people were killed as they were having an Irish wake for her 2-year-old son who had just died the day
Okay,
before.
okay, hold on, back up. That's the most fitting way I've ever heard of people
Oh
dying
my god.
at an Irish fucking wake.
To be
No, I
drowned in
don't feel
beer.
bad
To
for
be drowned in beer.
this that is the no, no, back up. I don't feel bad. I'm sorry. Nope. Nope.
Damn, I didn't know we
No.
ordered that much beer for the wake.
Also, how the fuck do you organize a wake within 24 hours? God damn. Like that's
I don't know.
insane.
Yeah.
Um yeah, no, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad about this.
Mm.
I'm sorry. I don't. That's yeah.
Well, maybe you'll
Yeah.
feel bad for this next person, Gil. A
Okay.
teenage
Okay. Okay.
servant named Eleanor Cooper, who was at the time working at the Tavistock Arms pub, was trapped and instantly killed by the tidal wave while Eleanor was working washing pots and pans at the outdoor pump. You should feel bad about that one.
He was working at a pub. But look, all I'm saying is these
But it was a
people
child. They're all a
he
teenager.
was a child working at the
A
pub.
teenager working at a
Clearly,
pub, of course. That's normal
no, I
back in this day.
I'm gonna put it this way. These people were dressed for it. All right, they won.
They wanted that be murdered by beer, death by beer, and not in the good
Obviously,
way.
any traumatic death is never a good thing, but there
For
are
sure.
better ways to have not a good thing happen. And
Mhm.
an, an apocalyptic amount of beer, over 200 and something thousand gallons.
Yes.
Look, look, I've said many things on record, as Joey has, as we have hundreds of hours recorded.
And
And
off record,
if
yes.
this is how I die, and anyone cries about it, you don't know me, and you never loved me to begin with.
Mhm.
I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
This
It's a
is the
very
laughing matter. This
strong
is a laughing
opinion.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for the love of God, that is hilarious. Like
Mhm.
a group of people get drowned in an Irish wake from a flood.
Right?
What?
I didn't realize how ironic it was till you repeated it back. So, as I was writing it, I was just like, "Oh, that's really, really sad." And then as you
Whoever
say it,
was
then I
it?
was like, "Wait a second, that's actually pretty funny."
Who- Whoever. God. Please continue. I need to hear about every single death that happened from this beer incident.
Okay.
This is
There were
incredible.
there were all in all 8 women and
Mm,
children that died during the London beer
mm.
flood. No men died
Tragic,
during it.
never okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, the reason I think that this happened because the UK 1800s, it's 5:30 p.m. What
Hmm.
really happened was all the men were working. And these
Hmm.
were at the this is the explosion at the tenement housing. So I think that that's why no men died in the flood of beer. Um yeah. Well, crazily, every person that worked at the Horseshoe Brewery survived. Like none of them died. Though
Whoa.
4 of the workers were hurt and had to be rescued, but none of them died, even though the place crumbled down and broke around them, which is pretty crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, most people, though, as Gil probably was thinking about and said earlier, they brought whatever container and anything they could use to pick up all this fermenting booze. They did that so much so that there was a random report a few days later that there was a ninth victim in this disaster. The report said he died of alcohol poisoning. I believe there probably was a lot more victims because of the alcohol
It was
poisoning.
my great, 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 great uncle who was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that afterwards there probably was some indirect victims of this flood too. There was some indirect victims because all the houses at the bottom of them, they're tenement housing at to begin with. They started rotting because of all the beer, and people didn't clean this out of their basement. I mean, like they're not cleaning this stuff up. So basically, I think a lot of the houses crashed and fell. They all fell right into the latrines, and we had a 1800 style or 1800 style latrine death.
I've I've been around the frats and the fraternities and all that shit. Like
I was
I've
in one.
partied outside of OSU in OSU on St. Patrick's Day. And nothing here surprises me. That's all I'm saying.
Hmm.
This,
Yeah,
this just sounds like this sounds like the OSU versus like Michigan game. That's what this
rivalry.
sounds
Yeah.
like.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel bad for anyone that died in this situation, Joe. I'm going to be honest.
Okay. Bold. Bold. Well,
Old Rock.
as
Yeah.
the most American part of this, the second
Okay.
most American part of this,
Mhm.
the disaster, they were actually taken to court. The brewery was taken to court for the lives lost. The disaster was ruled to be an act of God, which means nobody was responsible.
And that was also my great, 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 great uncle who
Lawyer.
was the judge in this case saying,
Oh yeah.
well, honestly, how much beer? Only God could do that.
Gil just died, so he died as the drunk judge. What's funny is the flood itself cost the brewery around 23,000 pounds or 1.25 million pounds today because of all
Worth
the,
it.
everything pretty much being destroyed. But they recouped most of the money from the excise duty they had paid on the beer itself. So it's a whole like tax thing in the UK. They basically got refunded all that excise duty because of the beer they lost, and then they were given money by the government to help them save their business, and they didn't go bankrupt. I guess the only thing that
Why
the
couldn't
people
have this
got was a
happened in
lot of beer.
Nashville?
Yeah, yeah. I guess the only thing they got was a lot of beer. Well, from all of our stories, and there are many ways to die. And before we end, we have one more. It's usual death. So I can end on a positive note as possible, right?
Don't do that.
We're going to talk about a man named Frank Hayes. It's a little quick story before we finish. Frank Hayes was an American horse jockey. He was 22 during his last race, and he actually had never won a race before in his life, right? During this day, he was riding the 20-1 outsider Sweet Kiss. As a jockey at this time, you had to trim down to a very, very light weight in order to meet the weight requirements so you can actually jockey the race, right? He started at this point at weighing 142 pounds and then went down to 130 in a matter of 2 days. That's 12 pounds in 2 days. So you got to do some serious shedding, puking, whatever, basically getting everything out of your body to lose that much weight.
Mm.
As he was the jockey in the race and he made the last turn to the finish line, Hayes slunk down in the saddle.
Mm.
He had a heart attack in the last part of
Mm.
the race due to losing so much weight and all that on his heart. What is
He died from
crazy?
that?
Yeah. What is crazy is the horse still kept going and actually won the race. He won the horse race posthumously, even after death, joining such acclaimed fame as Heath Ledger winning his award posthumously.
Just
That's the
like
last
Heath
story of the
Ledger.
day of unusual deaths throughout history.
Damn. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, dude.
Yeah.
Joey, that was fan fucking tastic.
Mhm. Before we go and get into our CTAs today, me and Gil
Before we
talked
go.
earlier. We really wanted to give the biggest, especially because this is about deaths, the biggest heartfelt love to the Prince of Darkness himself, Ozzy Osbourne. He just
Ozzy.
passed away like a week, 2 weeks right after his last concert. I guess he just felt like he was
Mhm.
done.
He had been saying for the longest time, he thought he was going to die on stage at his last concert.
He was close.
Like for months leading up to his last concert, he was telling everybody, and everybody's like, "Fuck! He just said he's gonna die on stage,
Mhm.
and he's hungry." Like it was for the longest time he had been saying that, and yeah, pretty goddamn close. And you know that I will say, and I'm not a Black Sabbath fan by any stretch of the imagination. It's
Yeah, I
not that
love him.
I'm like anti Black Sabbath or anything like that. It's just like I respect the music, I hear it. I think it's excellent, but I don't put it on when I'm by myself and like really get down with it. But I can hear good music and appreciate it. At least I like to think to.
Mhm.
And Ozzy and all the Black Sabbath, incredible music. I know they're incredibly talented. And here's the thing. You know that the Prince of Darkness was a good person because he didn't have a long life. Only bad people live forever. It's a fact. Sorry, throwing it out there. Check it. Dick Cheney still
Mhm.
alive. But
Mhm.
yeah, Ozzy was a great person.
He was.
Not to
He did a
bats,
lot of
but you saw what
yeah.
bats did with COVID.
Mhm.
He was letting us know.
He was letting us know early in the day.
Letting us
Mhm.
know.
Well, BCR is back after our 3 to 4 week summer hiatus, and we will be getting these episodes back out to you ASAP. This episode itself, it's going online tonight because today is our 3-year anniversary to the day. We've been going for 3 years. We want to thank you all for tuning in with us, finding us, bearing with us through all the stuff that's happened, the hurricanes, the different people being on the podcast, all the stuff. Thank you for loving us.
Music up. Yeah. Starting it over.
Please give us a like, follow, review wherever you get your podcasts. Also, if you have any good topics that you think we do a great job of covering, send them in to us via our IG, via DM, or to our email, contact@blackcat.report. Also, we will be having our Beer, Booze, and Boogeymen weekly live streams called Paranormal Happy Hour. On Friday, you can see it on YouTube, it was Gil and Damien, and they did a fantastic job. They were so good at it. Me and Kristen are this week. We got a lot to live up to. We are super excited about this, and it's going to be super fun. It'll be airing on literally random social and live stream channels, so you will know the day of where it's going to be airing. Last week was YouTube. Am I correct about that, Gil? Live streamed on YouTube?
Probably.
Yeah, it did. Well, this week, I think it might be Instagram, but you won't know till the day of. Give us a follow on Patreon, as you can get some awesome perks. They're like our member shout out. All you got to do is sign up. because we can't do this without you. Gil, you got any extras? Got anything you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say you guys are really great, and we have not given our Patreon shout-outs, which, Joey, I want to say we have a few new members of Patreon. Joey, do you want to sound off and give those shout-outs? Because I don't have the script in front of me.
I do. I got it right here. Our few newest ones that signed up: Oscar, Amandine, Stephanie. Back to our old people that we love: Harry Carey, Tristan,
Oldest.
Bud,
You're so old.
Don, Thomas, Little Mystery, Bobby, Betsabe, Lucas, Tim, D, Max, Ian, Morgan, Dragon Paul from the Star Blood Chronicles podcast, Tim Miller from Miller's Monsters, Marissa, Gavin, fearless leader of the Chicken Cult, Rachel, Av, Jaden, Jackie, Yellow Bear, Dwayne, aka Snatch Squad, Alyssa, Bree, Michael Extreme, Kristen from the Paranorm Girl podcast, James, and most importantly, our sexiest producer, Happy Kitty.
Happy Kitty.
Thank you all for listening.
We love y'all.
And we will see you next week.
Next week. Bye. We love y'all. Bye. 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 Bye.